If you're traveling to Mars anytime soon, be sure to bring your big coat. Its average temperature is roughly 60 degrees Celsius, the same as the South Pole, minus the penguins. Some scientists, in the hopes of making it more habitable, have suggested ways in which we could make Mars warmer. One of these ideas is to build giant mirrors that will reflect the sun's rays and kickstart some speedy Martian warming.
In the middle of the Milky Way galaxy, there is a supermassive black hole named Sagittarius A. Sagittarius A is about 26,000 light-years away from Earth and is roughly 4 million times the mass of the Sun. Sagittarius A is over 10,000 years old. It has a radius of 7.4565 million miles, and it was discovered in 1974 by Reinhard Genzel, Harry Clive Minott, Robert Brown, and Bruce Ballack. The cool thing about supermassive black holes is that they have so much mass. The more mass an object has, the more gravity it has. Since black holes have so much mass, they have so much gravity that even light can't escape it. Why does Saturn have rings? Saturn's rings are thought to be pieces of comets, asteroids, or shattered moons that broke up before they reached the planet, torn apart by Saturn's powerful gravity. They are made of billions of small chunks of ice and rock coated with other materials such as dust. Saturn's rings are held together by gravity. Saturn also has several shepherd moons, small moons that orbit near the outer edges of rings or within gaps in the rings. The gravity of shepherd moons serves to maintain a sharply defined edge to the ring. However, in 2018, NASA said its Voyager 1 and 2 missions confirmed decades ago that Saturn is losing its rings. Neutron stars are the remains of the cores of massive stars that have reached the end of their lives. They are one of the two possible evolutionary endpoints of the most massive stars, the other being black holes, the densest stellar objects, apart from perhaps whatever exists at the heart of a black hole. Neutron stars are some of the universe's most extreme objects. When neutron stars are born, the conservation of angular moment results in them spinning at incredibly rapid speeds. To consider why this is the case, think of an ice skater in a spin. As they draw their arms in, the skater's rotational speed increases. The Moon and the Earth have been dancing around each other since the Moon was first created 4.5 billion years ago, likely in a collision between planet Theia and Earth. But the orbits of these two bodies have changed over time. The Moon is getting further away from us, meaning one day far in the future, humanity, or whatever evolves from dogs, will look up and see the last total solar eclipse. We have an incredibly accurate idea of how fast the Moon is currently moving away from us, thanks to the Lunar Laser Ranging Experiment. The Apollo missions in the 60s and 70s placed reflectors on the surface of the Moon. By aiming lasers at the reflector and measuring the time it takes to be reflected back at Earth, scientists were able to determine the distance between the 2 points to within around 3 centimeters. 1.2 inches. Saturn's largest moon, Titan, is an extraordinary and exceptional world. Among our solar system's more than 150 known moons, Titan is the only one with a substantial atmosphere. And of all the places in the solar system, Titan is the only place besides Earth known to have liquids in the form of rivers, lakes, and seas on its surface. Titan's atmosphere is made mostly of nitrogen, like Earth's, but with a surface pressure 50% higher than Earth's. Titan has clouds, rain, rivers, lakes, and seas of liquid hydrocarbons like methane and ethane. The largest seas are hundreds of feet deep and hundreds of miles. Are you afraid of the dark? Welcome to TRES-2b, the planet of eternal night, the darkest planet ever discovered orbiting a star. This alien world is less reflective than coal. Inside its atmosphere, you'd be flying blind in the dark. Some scientists think an eerie deep red glow would emanate from its burning atmosphere. The air of this planet is as hot as lava. TRES-2b is a gas giant exoplanet that orbits a G-type star. Its mass is 1.49 Jupiters. Its radius is 1.36x Jupiter. It takes 2.5 days to complete one orbit of its star and is 0.03563 AU from its star. Its discovery was announced in 2006. White holes are theoretical cosmic regions that function in the opposite way to black holes. Just as nothing can escape a black hole, nothing can enter a white hole. White holes are a possible solution to the laws of general relativity. This law implies that if eternal black holes exist in the universe, then a white hole should also exist. It is a time reversal of a black hole. They are expected to have gravity, so they attract objects. But anything on a collision course with a white hole would never reach it. Theoretically, if you were to approach a white hole in a spacecraft, you would be inundated by a colossal amount of energy, which would most likely destroy your ship.
Enceladus is the 6th largest moon of Saturn, and 19th largest in the solar system. It is about 500 kilometers, 310 miles in diameter, about a tenth of that of Saturn's largest moon, Titan. It is mostly covered by fresh, clean ice, making it one of the most reflective bodies of the solar system. Despite its small size, Enceladus has a wide variety of surface features, ranging from old, heavily cratered regions to young, tectonically deformed terrain. Enceladus was discovered on August 28, 1789, but little was known about it until the two Voyager spacecrafts, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, flew by Saturn in 1980 and 1981. In particular, Cassini discovered water-rich plumes venting from the South Polar region. Io is the innermost and second smallest of the 4 Galilean moons of the planet Jupiter. Slightly larger than Earth's moon, Io is the 4th largest moon in the solar system, has the highest density of any moon, the strongest surface gravity of any moon, and the lowest amount of water by atomic ratio of any known astronomical object in the solar system. It was discovered in 1610 by Galileo Galilei. With over 400 active volcanoes, Io is the most geologically active object in the solar system. This extreme geologic activity is the result of tidal heating from friction generated within Io's interior as it is pulled between Jupiter and the other Galilean moons, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Callisto is the 2nd largest moon of Jupiter, after Ganymede. In the solar system, it is the 3rd largest moon after Ganymede and Saturn's largest moon, Titan, and as large as the smallest planet Mercury, though only about a third as massive. Callisto is, with a diameter of 4,821 kilometers, roughly a third larger than Earth's moon, and orbits Jupiter on average at a distance of 1,383,000 kilometers, which is about 6 times further out than the moon orbiting Earth. It is the outermost of the 4 large Galilean moons of Jupiter, which were discovered in 1610, with one of the first telescopes being visible from Earth with common binoculars. The surface of Callisto is the oldest and most heavily cratered object in the solar system. Its surface is completely covered with impact craters.
The Kardashev scale is a method of measuring a civilization's level of technological advancement based on the amount of energy it is capable of harnessing and using. Nikolai Kardashev proposed a classification of civilizations into 3 types. A type 1. Civilization is able to access all the energy available on its planet and store it for consumption. A Type 2 civilization can directly consume a star's energy, most likely through the use of a Dyson sphere. A Type 3 civilization is able to capture all the energy emitted by its galaxy, and every object within it, such as every star, black hole, etc. However, there is a 4th civilization that most people don't know about. A Type YV civilization, or K4 civilization, harnesses the power of its own supercluster of galaxies, and eventually its universe of origin, and become effectively immortal.
While Perseverance is learning more about our nearest neighbor, there's a cool space fact we already know about Mars. It contains the largest valley, a system of canyons really, that we've found so far. According to Space.com, it's called the Valles Marineris, and it's 2,500 miles, 4,000 kilometers long, which is 10 times longer than our beloved Grand Canyon. It was first spotted by Mariner 9 back in 1971. What caused it? Possibly a bank of volcanoes on the other side of the canyon ridge. Do you enjoy the fact videos on my channel? Well, according to YouTube, a whopping 99.5% of my viewers aren't subscribed. So if you subscribe, I can start making fact videos more often.
Neptune is 2.8 billion miles away from the Sun, which means you'd expect it to be a frigidly cold and dark place. As NASA describes it, noon on this ice giant is like twilight on Earth, because the Sun's rays are too far away to make it ever truly bright. However, Neptune appears to be making its own heat. In fact, it is making 2.6 times more heat than it receives from the faraway Sun. Scientists hypothesize that this has to do with the pressure near its core, which builds and releases hydrogen. Nevertheless, while Neptune's center is a blistering 9,300 degrees Fahrenheit, its atmosphere is a chilly 361.
The average temperature of Earth is 58.6 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 17.8 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, on Venus, our solar system's hottest planet, measures in at 842 degrees Fahrenheit, or 450 degrees Celsius. It's not hot enough to melt steel. You'd need 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit to achieve that. But it is hot enough to melt lead, and significantly hotter than any life that we know of can sustain. Extreme offals on our planet can survive and thrive at temps of up to 206 degrees Fahrenheit. At least, that's the hottest scientists have yet measured, according to BBC Earth. What makes Venus's heat so peculiar is the fact that it's not even the closest planet to the Sun. That's Mercury. But its super thick atmosphere traps greenhouse gases and turns it into a swelter fest. Our Milky Way galaxy is 2.5 million light-years away from the nearest other galaxy, Andromeda. Nevertheless, astronomers say we're on a collision course that will someday destroy both galaxies as we know them. The two massive entities are speeding toward each other at a rapid clip, 250,000 miles, 402,000 kilometers an hour. And when they hit, they will scramble up their stars, and some stars and planets won't survive the process. In the end, after about 1 billion years, the two galaxies will become a brand new, unrecognizable galaxy. Small comfort. According to National Geographic, impact isn't scheduled to occur for another 4 billion years. Being tilted on your side is nothing special for a planet. In fact, Earth is tilted at a 23-degree angle, which is what allows us to experience seasons. It's summer, when our part of the world leans closer to the Sun, and winter when we lean away from it. Uranus, however, has taken the planetary tilt to the extreme. It lies out there in space at a 98-degree angle. Not surprisingly, this has a massive effect on its seasons. Each one takes a whopping 21 years to play out, according to Earth's sky. Think about that the next time you complain that winter is lasting forever. If you haven't heard, I just hit 100 subscribers. Please consider subscribing to hit my next sub-goal of 500. What shape do you think of when you think of storms? Here on Earth, we're accustomed to conical tornadoes and long ovals of hurricanes stretching across vast swaths of sky. But as you might expect, things are a little different out in space. And that goes for storms, too. On gas giant Saturn, a storm has been positively raging for at least the last 40 years at its North Pole. And it's a doozy of a weird shape, hexagonal leading scientific observers to call it, the hexagon. What's the reason for this unusual shape? According to new research, it could have to do with the planet's turbulent gas, or with zonal jets that extend many kilometers down into an area of high pressure.
One of the most bizarre moons in the outer solar system is Miranda, a shadowy moon of Uranus observed only once when Voyager 2 got a glimpse in 1986. Miranda hosts sharp ridges, craters, and other major disruptions on its surface that would usually be the result of volcanic action. Tectonic activity could cause that kind of surface, but Miranda is much too small to generate that kind of heat on its own. Researchers think that gravitational pull from Uranus could have generated the push-pull action needed to heat, churn, and contort Miranda's surface. But to know for sure, we'll need to send another spacecraft to check out the Moon's unobserved northern hemisphere.
Scientists have detected evidence suggesting that Europa may have water plumes erupting from its surface. These plumes are thought to be jets of water vapor that could reach hundreds of kilometers into space, originating from the subsurface ocean beneath the icy crust. The discovery of these plumes was made using data from the Hubble Space Telescope and the Galileo spacecraft. If confirmed, these plumes could provide a way to sample the Moon's subsurface ocean without needing to drill through the thick ice, offering a tantalizing opportunity to search for signs of life.
One of the most fascinating facts about our solar system is that Jupiter, the largest planet, has such a strong gravitational pull that it acts as a cosmic vacuum cleaner. It protects Earth and the inner planets by attracting and capturing many of the asteroids and comets that might otherwise collide with us. In essence, Jupiter's massive gravity helps to reduce the number of potential impacts on Earth, playing a crucial role in the stability of our solar system. Venus, often called Earth's twin due to its similar size and composition, rotates in the opposite direction to most planets in the solar system. This means that if you were standing on Venus, you would see the sun rise in the west and set in the east. Additionally, Venus has an extremely slow rotation, taking about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation. Interestingly, a day on Venus, one full rotation, is longer than a year on Venus, one complete orbit around the sun, which takes about 225 Earth days. Dysnomia, the moon of the dwarf planet Eris, orbits at a distance of about 37,000 miles, 60,000 kilometers, from its parent dwarf planet. To put that in perspective, this is about 6 times the diameter of Eris itself. The distance between Eris and Dysnomia is so vast that it takes about 16.5 Earth days for Dysnomia to complete one orbit around Eris. This distant moon system provides valuable insights into the characteristics and behavior of Eris and its gravitational influence. Light speed is 299,792 kilometers per second, about 186,000 miles per second. It's the fastest thing in the universe. If you could travel at light speed, you'd circle the Earth 7.5 times in just 1 second. It's important because light from stars and galaxies takes time to reach us. When we look at distant objects in space, we're actually seeing them as they were in the past. For example, light from the sun takes about 8 minutes to get to Earth. So when you look at the sun, you're seeing it as it was 8 minutes ago.
Ever heard of the mysterious planet J 1407b? Let me blow your mind. It's not exactly what you think. J 1407b isn't a real planet, but rather a star called J 1407 with a protoplanetary disk. Imagine a ring system 200 times larger than Saturn's. That's what makes J 1407 so unique and fascinating. So, while J 1407b may not be a planet, it's definitely out of this world. Who knew that sometimes reality can be even more mind-blowing than fiction? The Great Dark Spot was a massive storm system observed by Voyager 2 in 1989. Similar in size to Earth, the storm had wind speeds up to 2,400 kilometers per hour, which is the fastest wind recorded in the solar system. Strangely, the Great Dark Spot disappeared a few years later when the Hubble Space Telescope observed Neptune in 1994, showing that Neptune's storms are dynamic and change over relatively short periods.
5 scary space facts that will leave you shivering. Galaxies can consume each other when the gravity of a larger galaxy pulls in gas and dust from a smaller galaxy. The Andromeda Galaxy is expected to consume the Milky Way in about 4 billion years. In 2015, a skull-shaped asteroid called 2015 TB-145 passed by Earth. It was about 2,000 feet wide, and scientists believe it was a comet that burned out. Our sun will eventually run out of hydrogen, swell into a red giant, and engulf Earth before collapsing into a white dwarf. Scientists believe that the universe is expanding at an accelerating rate, eventually leading to a heat death, where all energy is evenly distributed and no work can be done.
A common question many people may have, does Mars have moons? And in fact, yes, Mars has 2 moons, commonly referred as Phobos and Deimos. Phobos is the bigger one on the top, Deimos is the smaller one on the bottom. Phobos and Deimos are Mars's satellites in scientific terms, but are probably one of the smallest, or are 2 the smallest satellites probably ever in the solar system that we have gone so far to as discovered yet. Phobos and Deimos are almost like the size of most asteroids. They are, compared to moons, very small. There are probably other satellites for planets that are about the same size, that are like Phobos and Deimos. So that's why this is Apophis 9992. But for today's video, we're just going to refer it as Apophis. Apophis caught the attention of most people on social media in 2009. Apophis is roughly 450 meters wide, or 1,500 feet, and 170 meters tall, or 550 feet. Scientists were saying there is a 2.7% chance of Apophis hitting Earth in 2029, causing a great deal of media attention. It was also, for a time, had a small chance of hitting Earth in 2036, but according to our observations, it will not hit Earth in 2029 or 2036. However, in 2029, Apophis will come closer to the Earth, likely sparking a great deal of public interest. So, this is TRAPPIST-1e, but for today's video, we'll be referring it as T1e. T1e is an almost Earth-sized terrestrial extrasolar planet orbiting around an ultra-cold dwarf star, TRAPPIST-1, located approximately 39 light-years away. It was one of the 7 new exoplanets to be discovered orbiting the star using observatories from the Spitzer Space Telescope. In November of 2018, researchers determined that TRAPPIST-1e has a greater chance of being most Earth-like out of all the 7 planets. So,
Did you know that in 50 million years, Mars will have rings? The cause of the rings will be from Phobos drifting into Mars's Roche limit, causing it to break into billions of pieces. The fragments will form into rings, although the rings will sift down onto the surface, causing them to decay. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and comment your favorite thing about space. Did you know that NASA is going to Jupiter's moon Europa? The mission is scheduled to launch in October 2024 aboard a Falcon Heavy during a 21-day launch window. The spacecraft will use gravity assists from Mars in February 2025 and Earth in December 2026 before arriving at Europa in April 2030. The reason NASA is going to Europa is because it has an ocean under its icy crust. Scientists are confident there's a rocky seafloor at the bottom of Europa's ocean. Hydrothermal activity could possibly supply chemical nutrients that could support living organisms. The best evidence that there's an ocean at Europa was gathered by NASA's Galileo spacecraft, which orbited Jupiter from 1995 to 2003. If you enjoy my videos, like, subscribe, and comment what else you think is on Europa.